Hi, my name is Isabel Wilder, and I'm gonna share here how is that I made this bag. I'm not gonna give a step by step instructions, but I just want to share a little bit of how is that I did this. And I also do this as an own way of document my process. I didn't document it while I was making it. And it's been like 2 weeks, so before I forget everything, I just want to leave it here. And because some people have asked me. So I am an Orifil artisan, and the challenge we had for July was to work with scraps of fabrics, and they send us a bunch of scraps like these ones here. And if you don't know what an Orifil artisan is, our Orifil is a brand of threads made in Italy, and they have a program called the Artisan Program. And this year I am one of them, and they give us every month a challenge that they tell us what to do. And in July was to make anything with scraps of fabrics. So I made a bag, and I'm gonna tell you what I used. So I used these handles, wooden handles, but this part of the bag here that you see in beige color is linen. And somehow I'm very drawn to linen. I like texture. And then at the bottom, I decided to put this leather that it just happened to match so nice with all these colors. So my first approach when I was gonna do a design like this, I actually was working with another design, and I was thinking to do I had another idea in mind, and it was just kind of like do these lines coming out of this from here, from the wooden handle. I wanted these lines to kind of like radiate out of the handle, but I didn't have much time, so I knew that design required a little bit more time. And then so I decided to go for the horizontal lines. And what I did was, to a piece of linen, I put batting in the back, and then I started stitching as you know, quilting as you go. But some strips of fabrics were very thin, like these ones here. So here I added 2 strips. So I will say I composed each of my strips. So I joined them to have a width that was a little bit wider than, you know, the initial strip. And then I also mix other textures here, other colors, just to give a little bit of pop of different color to this print. So once I had my strips done and I liked what I was seeing, then I decided to sew them on the linen. But the way I did it, so I placed right size together, and then I stitch. And once I stitch this went down, and because I had to stitch this down in the other side, what I did, I folded this. So I did a little, put a little seam, and then I just iron it in place. That way, both sides were nice and finished. So the edges were finished. But one side was not sewn. It was just the one side that I first sew right sides together was sewn here, turn it, and then this one I just folded it and iron it very nice. And then I put the next one, I say here, and I repeat it. So one side stitch and the other one didn't. And the reason why I work like this, it was because the strips are very thin and the linen is bulky, so I didn't want to add, like, cut the linen in strips of fabrics too, because then I will be dealing with a lot of seams. So in that way, it created that smooth pattern, and I was not following any like to be really straight lines. I didn't care about that. And the way I held in place or attached in place those bottom seams that are just folded in and ironed. It was with the quilting, so you cannot see it, but the quilting was placed carefully, thinking that this is where I want to catch. Here you can see a little bit, this is the folded edge, and the quilting just went, right in on top very nicely, and that way it kept it on place. So that is how I made this bag, and if I do another one, I will share a little bit more of the tutorial. And I would love to do a class actually in Zoom and teach people how to do it. And then the back, because I like to do bags with different sides. I have this thing of making one side. I just feel like I don't want to repeat the same on the other side. So this one has this side like this, and for this one I just quilted a lot on top of the linen, and I added these strips of fabric just to give it a pop of color. And here I just did a little bit of joining each strip one by one, and then I just decided to leave it at the bottom next to the leather. The handles here are attached with a piece of leather and fabric too. Again, I like a lot of details, so I thought having a pop-up color here was nice. And then the inside is fully lined, and I put a piece of leather as a pocket. Actually, this leather is one that has like a little bit of marking, so it's not perfect. So it was great like to use it for an inside pocket, and it also had a cut here, so the pocket I actually added a piece of fabric here. So I think it gives it more character to the bag. It's nice. So I was very pleased how this design came up, and now we like to make some more because I have a bunch of scraps here. Something else that I did when I grab all these the Orifil, here is the name, the Orifil scraps that they gave us. I divided them in colors, so I went for these green, purple, blues tones, and I left these other patterns aside, but I would like to go back to those. So that's it. I hope this is something that you guys find it interesting. If you have any questions, let me know. If you think this will be a class that I could make in Zoom, also leave me a little message here on YouTube, or find me on Instagram at Gypsy Taylor. Thank you so much.